Revolve volume item of mesh menu is to generate volume meshes by revolving surface meshes around a specified axis. A surface mesh with 3-node triangular elements is ready for this tutorial of revolve volume mesh generation. Choose revolve volume item from mesh menu to start the mesh generation. Revolve volume dialog opens. Set the volume element type to tetrahedron, which can be created by revolving triangular surface elements. There are 3 options of defining the axis of revolution: input, select, and last. The default option is input, which demands creating the axis by inputting a straight line. Set the revolution angle to 180 degrees and the number of divisions to 30. Select the surface by clicking it. Set Surf button is enabled. Click the button. The caption of the button is changed to Set Axis, and the button is disabled. At the same time, the grid is automatically turned on, for convenience of inputting the axis of revolution. At the next step, create a straight line, which is the axis of revolution. The Set Axis button is enabled. Click the button. The volume mesh of revolution is generated, with 4-node tetrahedral elements. Use the virtual trackball to get a 3-dimensional view. Undo the mesh generation for further demonstration. Change the element type to hexahedron or prism, and the axis setting option to last. Thus, the previous axis of revolution will be employed again, and therefore, it is not necessary to define the axis again. Select the surface mesh, and click Set Surf button. The volume mesh is generated, with 6-node prism elements. Mesh generation of hexahedral elements will be demonstrated in the next example. For hexahedron mesh, the surface mesh should be composed of quadrilateral elements. Undo the mesh generation, to replace the surface mesh by quadrilateral elements. Enclose Revolve Volume dialog. Select the surface mesh, and delete the mesh. There remains only the region boundary lines. Choose Auto Mesh Surface item from Mesh menu. Auto Mesh dialog opens. Set Element Type option to Quad only. Select the boundary lines, and click Generate button. The newly generated surface mesh is filled with 4-node quadrilateral elements. Choose Revolve Volume item from Mesh menu again. Revolve Volume dialog opens. Set the volume element type to hexahedron or prism. The previously used axis of revolution has been nullified in the course of surface mesh generation. So, last item of the axis setting option is disabled. And the option is reset to input. Select the surface mesh and click Set Surf button. The grid is automatically turned on again. Let's define the axis differently from the previously used one. Click Set Axis button. The generated volume mesh is filled with 8-node hexahedral elements. This is the end of the tutorial for revolve volume mesh generation.